The Garden Report is brought to you by Prize Picks and the Game Time app.
Hey, Buddy Manning here, Noah Dalzell alongside. First time in a minute we're back together here, and at the Garden especially, and the Celtics have been waiting for a blowout win at the Garden, probably back to that Pacers game way earlier this month, and they got it tonight against the Bulls, missing Zach LaVine, but Celtics at full strength, another night, reps for the starters, or just a couple guys out off the bench. Porzingis, the headline here, amazing game from him. Jaylen Brown got going after some foul trouble early, but a tough one for Jayson Tatum, whose shooting struggles continue this month. We're still caught in that thing of, like, all right, whose night is it going to be? Obviously, this is Porzingis' night, the way they were doubling Tatum, much like on Monday. But it feels like that's a formula teams might start to do more often, is try to take Tatum out of the game. Mazzulla, talking before the game, said he welcomes it. But Tatum didn't look like he welcomed it in this one, shooting 5 of 15, struggling to find his shot throw. When he finally shot that first shot, got blocked by Vucevic, and even after a buzzer beater in one of the quarters, was more relieved than excited about it. Where are you at on his play this month, and where the defenses are starting to attack him?
Yeah, I mean, he's struggling. He's not in the best rhythm that he's been in this season. This has definitely been a little bit of a slower stretch for him. But a night like tonight, like, you will take that if you're the Celtics. If you're Joe Mazzulla, you have to take that because they overcommitted to him. They were doubling him to the buzzer. I don't know the last time I've seen a team be down by 20 with 4 minutes to go, still doubling the guy who is not the hot hand, who has not done the damage tonight to put you in the position that you're in. So it's not fun for him. I'm sure he'd rather be able to go one-on-one. I'm sure he'd rather be able to have more favorable matchups. But it's part of the struggle with being an NBA superstar. We see guys talk about it all the time. Anthony Edwards sounded off about it earlier this season. You know, there's the Devin Booker clip of him talking about it. Like, everybody knows that it's a challenge to be doubled, but he's really mastered finding the open man, and sometimes he's not going to get rewarded because it's not an assist, it's a hockey assist, and tonight it was a lot of that. And yeah, he did struggle. You know, even when he had one-on-one matchups, he wasn't able to kind of take advantage, and I think that's where he gets frustrated when he finally has the opportunity to go to the basket or get off a clean look. He wasn't hitting them, and he really hasn't been hitting them in January. But if the other guys are on, the way that Derek White was, the way that Porzingis, Jaylen Brown, they can afford Tatum to be inconsistent. I think they need 3 of those 5 starters to have good games, and they'll beat opponents. And tonight they had 3. Drew didn't have a huge game. Tatum didn't have a huge game, but it was more than enough to beat most teams, I think, the way that they played today.
What I'm watching for still is the rotation. So 7 straight games leading into this, they do the Jaylen 9-minute stretch, take Tatum out early. That got Jaylen going to some degree over that stretch. Tonight they switched it up, I think, because of Brown's foul trouble, so Tatum did play the full first quarter. Still couldn't get going. And on Monday, against those crowds with Houston and that rotation wrinkle there, he had 0 in the first half. That was pretty shocking to see. That was the first time since 2021 that happened. So they go back to that rotation in the second half. It feels like that's where they're comfortable, or at least want to see it go for a little stretch. But the full first quarter benefited Tatum so much to start this year. And I know it's helping Brown, and Porzingis is getting more looks and all that, but I do want to see them stick with the hot hand in that spot and maybe go back and forth more.
But he's not the hot hand right now, right?
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know what you do there, because right now, and this is what I feel like, they just need to play off each other a little bit more, get each other going. Like, they can't just be, all right, one's going, sit the other guy, empower one guy.
Tatum and Brown, you mean?
Yeah, and then have the other guy just sort of take a seat for the rest of the night. And that's what it looks like out there sometimes. The guy who's not going is just sort of standing around.
Yeah, and I think the reality is that people aren't going to be happy with when Tatum has a low, you know, he finished with 16 points tonight. Like, that, people don't want to see that. They think the Celtics at their best. He has to be an MVP caliber player. But I kind of feel like last year showed that he actually doesn't need to be putting up crazy numbers for this team to be consistently winning basketball games. But he has to put those numbers in if other guys are not going to deliver. And this season has been a lot of other guys underperforming.
And he was out there with Tillman.
Right, and in those moments, he has to be able to assert himself. Yeah. But I don't feel like I walked out of this game being like, there's a problem that they need to fix of, like, how do you get Tatum going? He did his job tonight. He was, other guys were able to get hot, and he didn't play his best game. He didn't capitalize when he had those opportunities, but I'll take this game any day. And I don't think the Bulls are not a great team, and they certainly didn't put up a great performance tonight. But he has accepted the fact that he's going to get doubled. He knows how to pass out of the double team better than most stars in this league. It's really something that he's refined over the past few seasons. And when Drew and Derek and Porzingis are shooting lights out, or even pretty good, it's enough. The challenge has been that when they aren't, which has been many times this season, he has to find a way to get going. And I think we've emphasized a lot the first quarter rotations. I don't know how much the first quarter rotations are the big story here. I know that there's something tangible that we can see, and Jalen has certainly expressed that they matter for him. But I mean, Tatum played the whole first quarter today. I don't think it really made much of a difference. No. And then he did get kind of iced out. He ended up being on the bench for almost the entire second because there was no stop and play from 6 minutes to 2 minutes, so that didn't help. But I think the first quarter thing, the second quarter thing, it's a little bit overblown at this point, just because at the end of the day, guys are going to have to get themselves going a little bit, and they're both playing 35 minutes a night.
Yeah,
so
it's less about the rotations, more about are those guys playing off each other or just taking turns? And this month, it's gone a little toward taking turns. Fortunately, with Porzingis as a target, they can both just try to find him and let him shoot 50% from three, which is what he's been doing. Ridiculous Porzingis performance, Brown strong, Tatum on the lighter side of this one, but Celtics come away with a blowout win behind his passing out of those double teams to Porzingis. How do you feel about Tatum's month? Let us know below. And check out our other videos here on Celtics All Access and CLNS Media. For Noah Dalzell, I'm Bobby Manning. Celtics, blow out the Bulls. We'll have coverage of Celtics Pelicans on Friday remote as they head down to New Orleans to begin a road trip. Hey, Bobby Manning here. If you made it this far, you probably enjoyed this video, so subscribe, turn on notifications, and check out our social media platforms at Celtics CLNS.